And that shared folder contains a number of different resources. So there are, for example, a master list. This is basically an index or a manifest of what is available in this Google Drive folder. There is a spreadsheet, which we'll look at shortly, that shows you things like endangered and threatened species that are available for comment from an environmental perspective. It includes plants, mammals, reptiles, insects, birds, fish. So pretty much the gamut of wildlife is included in that inventory. There is a topic on FERC commenting, kind of an in-depth resource for how to make a comment. There's another file folder here that's resources of both cultural and environmental and other things that are useful in forming comments. There is an annotated comment. We're going to look at one of these so that you can see what a comment actually looks like. There are maps and other kinds of things in here that provide information about what, for example, the pipeline construction process looks like. So here in this weird shade of blue is what a pipeline construction spread looks like. And this was borrowed without any emotion from our good friends, Energy Transfer Partners. So they cleverly provided that to us. There are other photographs here. You can see this is a pipeline that was constructed by Mastech Inc., one of the partners in this project, and Energy Transfer Partners. It goes through some terrain that's similar to ours. This is the 42-inch Ruby pipeline. So I'm going to dwell here for just a minute and stand in front of the screen. This is what's called a spread. This is an industry standard construction method called double ditching. So what these guys have done is they've come through the country and they've cut a 125-foot wide trench through the countryside down to a depth of about 3 feet. And they've piled up the topsoil from that trench along the sides of the construction easement, which is this path here. And then they've offset along one edge of the trench. They've cut about an 8-foot deep trench where the pipeline actually gets laid. So imagine this through the 143 miles of the Big Bend region from Quinosa all the way down to the river. So that's what this process looks like. That's what it does to the land. The thing that's not necessarily easily visible in this picture is there are lateral access roads, easement roads that are temporary, that are cut into the landscape to get to that, to allow the pipeline stream trucks that deliver the pipe and to allow equipment to get on and off of the easement. So everywhere this thing goes, it's going to tear up a 125-foot chunk of the landscape. If you look across the span of this thing, it will tear up 7,177 acres. That's the amount of disturbance that it will create as it passes through the region. 7,177 acres. Okay, and that's what that process looks like. Our own permit application, it's known as Appendix F. It's the environmental report that's associated with the pipeline. The important thing here, if you cite things from this document, the top of the document, as is the case with all of the documents, has a citation reference at the top where you can just sort of copy that, and then I would be kind to FERC and probably change the page number if I knew what page the thing was on. But that's the source of some of this material. This report is about, say, 50 pages, and it covers all of the aspects of the jurisdictional facility that that GAI and Associates thought was important. So this is another source. This is a source, for example, of the protected species that they believe they're impacted by in the jurisdictional facility. So this document is worth reading, even though it's kind of boring. But it's really, it's really outrageous. That would be the word I would use. It's outrageous to believe that they would permit this pipeline using only this material. But that is what FERC would otherwise have done were it not for us. Okay, so that's the environmental report. You make these quick comments. This comment that we explored earlier on is 3,600 characters. There is a limit to the number of characters that can be put into a quick comment at 6,000 characters. If you go longer than that, then you have to register with the FERC and then use a process called e-filing in order to make that comment. This is an example of a long form comment. So those of you that feel really industrious, in this particular case, this is a 7-page document that discusses the environmental impact on the Markham grasslands. So there was a question that Deborah asked earlier about, if you know about a bunch of things, is it appropriate to comment on them in one document? And this is an example of where it's appropriate. So here are a list of things, reptiles, avians that are affected by the pipeline, this particular stretch of the activity, and so on and so forth. So, and rather than write 15 comments, they're all contained in this one long comment. And this comment includes a reference map of the conservation areas. It includes the route map of the pipeline, because I reference specific mileposts where these things are living, probably. And then I reference that drawing to demonstrate to FERC that we understand the impact that this process will have on the land. So this is an example of something you can do if you feel industrious in a long form comment and this kind of thing, because it contains image data and maps and whatnot, and because it's long, has to be submitted as an e-filing component. This is a cross section of this double ditching construction method. And you'll see that these things are referenced, and in some cases they're embedded in some of the comments that we're going to look at. So this is what the cross section of this process looks like. Here's the pipeline trench. Here's the construction easement on the spread, and then in this case, these are side boom tractors that run up and down this thing, compacting and crushing the soil in the process of everything else they do when they lay the pipe. So those are the references, basically, that are in this folder. They're growing in number, and we'll be adding to it kind of as we go, and as we add to it, we update this master list. So that's what's in the folder.